Hi, I'm Sid Dobrin. In this video, I'm going to talk about teaching Diane Hamill Metzger's essay, The Manipulation Game, Doing Life in Pennsylvania. I'll be talking about teaching her essay in the context of first-year writing, and I'll be addressing the essay specifically from a rhetorical situational approach. Metzger's essay is a unique kind of essay to teach, not just because the content provides a lot to talk about with students, but because it's a narrative that is written in the second person. The essay also serves a rather evident dual rhetorical purpose, both to narrate and to persuade. Because of this, I find that this is an essay that students are often eager to engage. To drive this conversation, I often start by asking students some basic key questions about the rhetorical purpose of the essay. For whom does Metzger write? How does she use the second person to engage her audience? How does the use of the second person contribute to her argumentative purpose? What is Metzger's argument? Does she state her position in a direct claim? If so, what is that claim? If not, how do readers then extract her claim from the narrative? I try to do this for two specific purposes. The first is to show that frequently writers use narrative to enhance other rhetorical purposes, not just to narrate for the sake of narrating. And second, to encourage students to make synthetic connections in how they critically read essays like Metzger's. Admittedly, I also hope they will transfer this kind of critical reading into their own writing strategies. Of course, part of the power of Metzger's essay is the question it raises for readers. Questions of race, questions of gender, questions of justice, questions of social context, and so on. So the essay is also a great conversation starter if you're teaching from a race, culture, or gender position. It's also useful if you're teaching a thematic course or if you want to teach students to transfer their critical reading skills from specific text to larger social cultural readings. But for my purposes, I find the essay rich with possibilities for teaching rhetorical aspects of the essay. For example, this is a really interesting essay to talk with students about ethos. Metzger's ethos is unique in that she's writing from inside the prison system. But how often do we grant authoritative ethos to a prisoner rather than a prisoner policymaker, for example? That is, ask students to think about Metzger's location in the situation and her relations to the institutional power structure evident in the situation. How does this location and relationship affect how we grant the writer credibility? I also like to talk with students about Metzger's use of second person and how that strategy makes evident ecologies within the situation in which she writes. For example, how does the use of the second person draw the audience into the ecology? How does it identify various players and speakers in the situation? How does it implicate other prisoners, other prisons, other states? The other thing I try to address with students is Metzger's use of time in her narrative. I talk with students not only about how Metzger conveys time, but how the essay's entrance into a rhetorical situation is particularly attentive to kairos, to the timing of its being, and to the timing of its being made public in this situation. I like to tie this conversation of kairos to discussions of how Metzger herself uses that timing to claim a place in the situation as spectacular and as a speaker. This, of course, allows me to return to conversations about ethos and to talk with students about how these various rhetorical aspects of the essay are always functioning in relationship with other rhetorical purposes and characteristics of the essay. So those are some of the main rhetorical and situational approaches I take when teaching Diane Hamill Metzger's essay, The Manipulation Game, Doing Life in Pennsylvania. Depending on your reading of the essay, your particular area of expertise and interests, you may probably have other approaches you find useful too, that you might want to share as well. So how do you teach this essay? Post a response to this video, either in the comment section or as a video response, and share your thoughts on teaching this essay. Thanks for watching, and thanks for using Writing Situations.